Information is power. Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Remember how to break our asses to providing and y'all making the music?
Tell the truth.
All right. Okay, everybody, this is Information Man, and we got some interesting things going on here. Very interesting. We have with us today Brother B.M.T. of Black Male Talk, and he also has a program called Black Males Congregation. The brother contacted me last evening. We were chopping it up about something very important that is going on in South Carolina. The Prestige Preparatory Academy. Did you know that it's the last school, all black boys school? How many of y'all know that in the chat room? Press 1 if you've heard of this school in South Carolina. It's on the brink of being the last all black boys school, Preparatory Academy. And so we're going to have serious talk. We're not going to get into the usual BS talk about what's wrong with black women and black men. We're not going to get on here and argue with each other. We're going to get to solutions. We're going to break this down. I think Brother B.M.T. wants to educate y'all as to what's happening in South Carolina, because he's on the ground. He's on the ground there. He lives there. And we've got my man Art on, who is an educator, professor, teacher, everything like that. Yes. And then we got my man, Brother Rob, who's also an educator, works with the youth. Can everybody hear me in the chat room? Press 1 in the chat room if you can hear. This is very important. And then we have Brother Prophet of Thought series. Thank you, everybody. You can hear me. This is wonderful. Prophet of Thought series will be back on with us. Super Trez will come in the house. I'm hoping that he will come on board at some point in time. I also send a link out to Brother Wolf, hoping that he would come on board as well. But with that said, let's get right into it. Let's get into it. Let's talk to these brothers. Let's see what Brother B.M.T. has to offer us as it relates to this issue. Let me give a clap to everybody that is on board with us now. Brother B.M.T, you are a guest of honor here, brother, along with the other brothers that's on the panel. Let me disengage here we go. How are you doing, brother?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, brother. Thank you for allowing me to come on. Thank you for allowing me to push this this message out here. I felt like this was a definite call to action for all the brothers and all the men that I'm trying hard to get this out, because we heard a lot on different segments and different news from different people with money and resources, how they would like to see an all black boys school, or we got to do stuff for the boys. But then it's very rare that you actually see that there actually is and already has been an all black boy school, charter school for lower income young men. This is the last of its kind, and it is possibly will be the last. You cannot get another one because of the way how the laws are set up and fixated. They're not going to, the state is not going to fund another school like this ever again. So once this school is gone for African American black boys, that would be it. The school has been open for only for a few years, and is trying to. I think it was founded in 2016, and around that time, it was with the Democrats had signed off that it's okay, that they were fine with having segregatory schools. Now, what that means, and I want people to be flagged by that, segregatory means if you want to have an all black boys school, that's fine. Because they were trying out, what they were trying out at the time was to see, can all boys school be progressive? Could an all black girl school be progressive? Can an all Indian boys school be? You see what I'm saying? So they want to try it out, and in trying it out, pretty much what happened was it was a turning of the tables where the Republican Party took over, and around later on they were like, listen, there is no psychological I would say evidence showing that an all black boys school could be fruitful. Now they were like asking why was it not going to be fruitful? Well, they say, well, look at, they're not producing anything. Well, of course they're not, because a lot of the laws and different things that were passed around that time, the boys' school did not want to be included into, i.e. same-sex identification bathrooms. I'm not sure if y'all remember when that was getting pushed. Yes. They did not participate in that. Different types of things or systems that they wanted to push onto the school kept on deferring that. And because the school kept on deferring those types of indoctrinations, they were not going to receive funding from the federal government. I want you to understand that. So when certain school can become political at sometimes, where if you do not participate in certain types of structure or games, as this best to say, then what happens is you have funding that can be pulled from you. Now, a lot of people will say, well, why don't they? Well, I pay taxes. That's not a problem. Well, see, it's a charter school. It's a privately funded charter school. So they don't get to tap into taxes the way other public schools tap into taxes, because they're not participating like them. Now, this is the ideal school that y'all been hearing from Umar Johnson, a lot of different other brothers talk about. Well, if we can get an all black boys school where we raise them and we go do it our way, well, the school's already been done. It's already being done. But again, they're playing games with these boys and their lives by, well, why don't the parents do it? Well, you got to understand, they don't have parents. These are not majority of the boys that go there, their parents are low income parents. And that was the target student that they wanted. They wanted to take boys from low income communities and put them in a privately funded black boys school and show that we can take boys from nothing and have them become something greater. So in other words, it's like this school's trying to give these boys a shot out of whatever situation that they are in. So in doing that, they've been hitting opposition after opposition after opposition. So that's just a quick briefing of what's going on with this school.
Okay. Let me go right ahead and pull something up on my part about the school. What's going on, brother D. Darrell? Welcome, brother, to the program.
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
All right. Hopefully you heard a little bit of what has been stated. There is a school in Charleston, South Carolina. It's on the blink of being no more. And brother B.M.T brought it to my attention just last night as we were talking for some time, matter of fact. Let me just read here. One of the last of all boys public schools in South Carolina could be shutting its doors by the end of 2018-19 school year. The prestigious Preparatory Academy opened up in the fall of 2016, as the brother has said, as a public charter school sponsored by Charleston County School District with the mission of providing boys specific education in kindergarten through 8th grade. Now, I remember hearing brother B.M.T on another program that he did where he showed a video. He talked about how in this school, they're teaching the young men yoga. They're teaching them to deal with their stress as well as academics. They're giving them academics from an Afrocentric or Black perspective to empower their self-esteem, things that they would not get in your normal garden variety type schools. Now, since then, it has faced difficulties, including including low student enrollment, massive teacher turnover, budgetary problems, and tremendous leasing on the building of North Charleston former naval shipyard. So they're using a naval shipyard, or when it was a naval shipyard, is the facility in which this school has been thriving on. But it's having, as usual, when it comes to education, academic problems. Charleston County Schools Board considered revoking the prestigious preparatory charter in March, citing that the school low academic performance and financial difficulties. After a 6-hour meeting, the board voted 7-1 to let the school stay open if it revises its budget, creating an academic plan for each student, and came up with a plan to increase enrollment to 85 students by June 30th. Today, the student head count stands at about 53, which is below this threshold the board believed would make the school financially sustainable. See, economics is what rules the day. Since charter schools receive their funding on certain small base schools often have a hard time covering the overall. Let me turn my phone down here, and I'm going to have to make this. So let me just stop right there. I've got to answer something real quick, but I'm going to let you brothers go on. I'm going to mute myself real quick. So let me just stop right there. I've got to answer something real quick, but I'm going to let you brothers go on. I'm going to mute myself real quick.
I'm assuming he wanted us to continue the conversation. Anyone want to continue until he gets back?
Oh, I didn't know I was on mute. Oh my goodness.
If y'all have any questions y'all want to ask me about what's been going on.
Yeah, I have a couple.
Brothers, yeah, go continue on with the program, brothers. I'll be right back in a moment.
Right.
Yeah.
If y'all have any questions y'all want to ask me. Oh, brother, you're on mute. I think you got yourself on mute. D. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you kind of low, Darrell.
Yeah, you sound low, D. I do apologize. Yeah, we can hear you now.
I had questions in regards to the school.
Go ahead.
Okay. Now I was curious in regards to the extra programs that they talked about in regards to implementing the same-sex bathrooms and things of that sort, more of the liberal type initiatives. Were the administrators aware of these things prior to them? That things were going to come along prior to the school being established? Like, were they privy on the fact that these are things that could be coming in the future in order to receive funding?
Were they aware of that? I would say no, because a lot of low income minority schools were hit with that, and different school board meetings had happened. I believe for my children's school, they were told that if they did not correspond with same-sex bathrooms or identifiable bathrooms, then they would face losing funding. So a lot of black men pulled their children, their daughters and their sons out of my school. As far as this school, they chose that they would not participate also. And being that they are their own private funding entity, that means the state would not help them. So when you're dealing with that type of energy, it's like, okay, economics is either you play the game with the liberal agenda or you submit to them. And these boys and this woman and these boys chose to fight. And in choosing to fight, they took one of those hits that they already could not really afford to take. You get what I'm saying, brother? Okay. So it's like that for college. You either roll over or you play the game.
Okay. So in consequence to that, they hit multiple schools with this same situation. And
correct.
Do you have any idea of how many of these schools actually on the verge of shutting down on the basis of these initiatives?
Well, I could tell you right now, 3 schools that I know of, my children's school included, this boys' school, and there's another school out there in Beaufort County that are looking at so that the majority of them are all minority-based schools that are looking at majority of the kids will get moved from those schools and put into other like bigger schools, like white schools. They're more so out of their county, but the school bus will just take them and put them in those schools.
Okay. Is there any type of networking or let's say communication between these certain types of charter schools that kind of cater to the same situation? Because it seems like to me that they seem segmented in which this happened to all of them, and there was no type of let's say 2 or more charter schools maybe combine together or do something to allow this to survive,
being that as far as it goes for segregatory schools, and I'm not sure if y'all ever really seen, it's like an all boys school, or I'll use it for a big example. Morehouse and Spelman are colleges for all black female, all black male colleges. You get what I'm saying? Okay. Spelman changed that where now if you are a transgender female or male, whatever you want to be called nowadays, you can attend Spelman. Do y'all brothers understand how drastically that changes? Yes. You see what I'm saying? Yes. Now that's at a college level. That's been there for years. Okay. And they chose to roll over and go along with that type of agenda. Now, a preparatory low income school that doesn't have that like that college does, the chances of them surviving is almost like minimal. And I believe I think Art, you're a teacher also, so you understand how hard it is to get funding for like stuff for teachers That's my T thing. For teachers, student, this is why we have to we have things that like getting kids school supplies and stuff. Again, when it comes to helping lower income areas in schools, your accessibility is not going to have as deep pockets versus where you have people who own businesses, different other stuff, football stadiums are named after them. See, you have deeper pools to reach into. As far as this, again, the treasury that used to fund them is gone. It was I took over in South Carolina. The new head of that, he shut that down. He was like, "There's no point in having an all black boy school. There's no point in having that." Now, to us, we see that's a big deal to us, but to him and a few other people, there's no point to that. Why did there need to be an all black boy school? You get what I'm saying, brother D?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Okay. Like I said, I will answer everything best I can.
I just want to let everybody know that I'm back. If you can hear me, I apologize for that. I had gotten a sudden phone call. I muted myself and I was trying to tell brothers to go on with the program. So I apologize for that boo-boo.
No problem.
But let's continue to go on. And we need people who have experience in this. Brother D. Darrell, I'm glad you're on here because of your background. You can bring some other gravity to this. And me and B.M.T was talking about, we really want to get brothers who can talk about these issues, who have some type of skin in the game. So we need to get Brother Art and Brother Rob to speak to this as well, because they have skin in the game with teaching and being with youth. Go right ahead if anybody want to touch on anything.
Yeah, okay. So I guess I'll pop in there. I've been sitting there just sitting there really just listening to as many particulars as possible. What is the population for that school?
Let me see. Well, they're at 53. I think Brother B.M.T said that they needed to be at an 85% mark. So they're at 53% mark with their attendance, right, brother?
No, what is the population? Is it like 200, 300, 500 students?
No. It's just 53 boys.
It's 53. It's 53. Okay, let me correct. Let me say this again. It's 53 boys. The school district was going to allow them to keep their charter and keep going if they could push that 53 up to at least 85%. Brother BMT was telling me the other night that their attendance is shrinking and they're down to 53 as we know now, and it might be lower than that. And this is another key thing. This school was designed to focus particularly on lower income black boys. So this is a school that they don't have to come out of the pocket for. The parents don't have any financial stressors. Go right ahead, Brother Art.
Yeah, so and do they have a school site council?
Go ahead. You said, do they have a school site council?
Yeah, do they have a school site council and a fiscal budget rundown?
Yeah, the school board had run down with them over that. In the 6-hour meeting, they had all that. They went over all that with their budget. The state had already agreed to absorb $300,000 of their debt. Also, they also gave them $100,000 to use. That was actually from a church. A reverend gave them $100,000. So different people are trying to fight and to keep the school doors open, to fund the teachers as well as the population that is still in that school.
Yeah, the reason why I was asking is because, everybody knows you have a fiscal budget every year and what to expect. If you're dealing with 53 boys and with the expectancy of increasing them, like when I say school site council, that would be like parents, clerks, teachers, administrators, those people
Mm-hmm.
that would be able to, set things aside and make sure things are pretty much going on for like maybe a 1 year plan or a 2 year plan. But I was really thinking about, like the the panhandling councils and the other organizations that are able to be invited to those school site council meetings. Because when you're dealing with like alphas, kappas, omegas, and deltas and all that kind of stuff, everybody have somebody professional in their organizations that are in that location. So, and they have so many different chapters. So I think sometimes the word has to be spread out through the right person, especially if it's considered an emergency. um
Right.
yeah, because there's always some kind of educational component that is very necessary, that needs to be really conveyed to the necessary people, because basically you, the other the other piece that you want to bring to them is to reach out to as many retired teachers as possible. They're probably your best
Right.
resource, you know. But you wanted to say
No, I,
something?
I no, I agree.
No,
No,
I
I
agree
agree
with
with
you
you
on
on
that.
that one.
Um,
Um, Info and me
info.
were talking, and oh, there's an echo. We were talking, and he brought up, well, I remember when we were talking, I said we were talking about Umar Johnson wanted to start an all boys school, and we were like, well, dang, why doesn't brothers like him take this type of school? You know what I'm saying? Because that would make it's already the groundwork for this is already done. You know what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
brothers? So
Yes.
you don't have to go build a grand school like you said you are. If you can keep a school of 85 boys or bring some people in and keep this school afloat, it's already done. You know what I'm saying, brother Art?
Right.
And this is where again, um, I don't know every detail because, like I said, we have looked at like if you pull up the Facebook page, she has asked black men like I would like to. If you check out the Facebook page, she has asked black men, hey, please come to this school, mentor our boys. Y'all brothers follow me? She has asked different men and organizations, come and take part in your community. So the sister is reaching out there for men to come in. I've never seen her really push or shut off anybody. There are pictures of men like truck drivers. I know my business as well as my family's business, we're also putting in on this. Different people are coming to fund this because these teachers can't help as well as whatever money that they do have. Um, we all know keeping a facility by itself running is a lot of money. It costs money, and they're trying to give these boys the not the standard education that you would normally get, because we're talking about stepping outside of the norm and teaching Afrocentric history, art, music, different things that are outside of the norm of what we see as education. Because let's be for real, education has drastically gone to shit, especially when it comes to lower income school. But for the fact that this teacher, these people are doing differently, and in one of the newsletters, the teachers were saying like we're not getting paid as much because they don't have the money to try to pay them like they could. And it would be a perfect world if the black let's get behind this school like we get behind everything else and fund this. That would be a perfect world. Then the school wouldn't have to go to outsource people, because I do know a few associates. They said if the school does fail, they will take the boys and absorb them into other schools, but the building is going to get turned into something that is more for people with money to use. So they're banking on y'all are not going to be able to last throughout the year. That is the ultimate goal. It's going to come down to money like it does for every school. You don't got the money, we'll use it for something else.
Yeah, because I'm quite sure you're hip to Dr. Amos Wilson.
Yes.
A lot of his literature, he endorsed a school called Marcus Garvey School in Los Angeles, and it's an African centered education school as well that's been running since the 70s in Los Angeles. And but the difference with them is they were definitely tuition based, which is unlike what you're talking about. But you know, they face some of the same problems as well as you know, funding and people paying tuition and things like that. So they had to dip along with government funding, but that kind of compromised some of the other things as well. So I mean, this I'm not sure whether or not how deep in the government they're in, because I think people that are listening, the deeper you're in the government, the more you would have to take away some of that African education and even bring in some people that don't look like the kids to teach too when you're really far into the government. So that was another problem that they face. So that, you know, I mean, but at the same time, um, another thing to consider would be dealing with like Asian schools and you know, Arabs and things like that. I mean, that at least get you a little bit of temporary aid, so you don't have to deal with the other people that's trying to get you down. Sometimes a risk, depending on who you're dealing with. But like you said, I mean, the main thing is the funding. Um, you know, but it's very key though that if they have a strong, I mean, are you part of their parent teacher association or?
I'm set up with donating to the school every month, brother Art.
Do
I
you sit with them to make decisions?
No, I sit on another school board. I'm in the one in Berkeley County. That's Charleston County.
Okay.
But like D acts, are there other people outside that are sourcing and trying to help them? And a lot of some other black communities, we are trying to help them out. Even though, again, like I said, we got like J.K. Gordon or the school in our area that's facing being closed. So all the kids in Pineville and out there in the country, that's the school that they have to go to. And when that school closes, that's it for them. So when we think of schools that are where kids are out there that live out there in the country or in the poor South, um, if those schools close, those kids they don't get the after school programs, food, and care that they would normally get if they lived in city areas. So this is going to put quite a strain because I'm not gonna lie, I'm already like I talk on my channel. I'm already a father to like 40 kids in one school alone, and I'm trying to be there for them. And it's kind of hard, but like I'm like, dang, like Charleston, when I get a call from the boys here and they're like, little Taekwon had a mental breakdown. Mr. Johnson, can you go in there and go talk with him? Like that's the stuff that I deal with. Rather than them putting the boys on medication, we have fathers go in the school and talk to the boys. So it keeps them out of these types of things where they now, I believe you, I'm not sure if y'all know, the guidance counselor in most schools nowadays, they can advise for children to get put on Ritalin and different other type of sedative medications to be allowed in the classroom. That is how crazy it is getting for a lot of public lower income schools.
Yeah, because that's what I was, and I don't want to be too long winded. Oh, I'm sorry, Rob. You want to say something?
No, I
No,
do apologize.
no problem, brother. Art, brother, good art, brother. Go ahead and finish your point, and then I'm gonna weigh in.
Okay. Yeah, the last part I said in the beginning was that again you got the the Omega Psi Phi fraternity, you got Alpha Phi Alpha, you got Kappa Alpha Psi, you got Phi Beta Sigma and Iotas. You know, you got those kind of people that have programs specifically what you're talking about. But it's not. But I think it's not going to take just one of them. I think you got to get the whole collective, because you have, like, for example, my chapter, we adopt certain schools and things like that per chapter. So you might want to look into that over there, because there are, I mean, all these. I mean, we have grad chapters. That's what I should have told you. We have grad chapters that do these things for schools, and you know, Info Man is an alpha. I'm an omega,
Yeah.
and you know, you have all these different things. So I think you might want to start with that because basically they definitely stress on education. So when they hear about 50 something or more black boys that need to be educated, I'm quite sure it'll come to their aid. But I think you know, I think you need to go to some of their chapter meetings. You
Yeah,
know,
I would.
get on their calendar,
I
and
agree with I agree with Brother Art on that. That's some of the things that we do. And you're in South Carolina, and I know there's a large contingency in South Carolina. I know here where I live at, we have this program. I've been talking about this on YouTube. It's called the Alpha Academy, and we identify young people within the school system that are on the blink, that are having some issues. You know how it is when black males, our youngsters are in school, they begin to try to criminalize them. And so we try to identify them before they are kicked out of the system because they track us in the system. And we try to get mentorship, get black men that are professionals to follow these kids and follow them to the point into school. We also have, I've said this before, we do have a program where we try to get the parents, hold them accountable, and fathers accountable for their involvement with their kids. So that's for those of you out there that would say, well, don't be a cleanup man. Well, we actually do hold brothers accountable in these communities who have children. And believe it or not, when they tell their stories, they tell you why they're having the problems that they're having within their family as it relates to their child and with their woman. So these dynamics are a lot bigger than we think off of YouTube. But this is some of the things that we do, and we have had some success. Now, I think I was on a panel one night, and I think BGS or some folks were asking me to give all these raw numbers. But see, when it comes to our people, it can't just be about numbers. It has to be, there's other tangibles, there's other human issues that come into play when it comes to dealing with our community and dealing with our young men. So I think Art has given a good perspective that there are resources to tap into with organizations that have a commitment to working with young black males. So I would say that. But it's a broader issue. I mean, one of the things that bothers me about reading when I read that article is that just like American society, everything is based in numbers. This number and that number. And I understand that that's how you quantify certain things. But with black people, we have to be more than about the numbers. I don't care if it was only 10 boys in the school. Those 10 boys still matter, in my opinion. Any black youngster matters that is trying to do the right thing. I'll render the mic right there. Whoever wants to step in. We got Brother Man of Tomorrow who came on board. Thank you for being here. And we've got Prophet of Thought series who's just come back. Thank you for being here. Anybody who wants to render their voice, go right ahead.
Yeah, can I peace to all the brothers up here? You know, I got love for all you brothers up here. Peace, angry man. I mean, my bad, info man. For
all right, brother. I'm not the angry man, but okay. Sometimes
I don't know.
We
I
all
don't
look
know.
alike.
I don't know. I don't know, brother info. I don't know about that one.
I can get angry sometimes, but you know.
But
David Banner.
Yeah, right, brother info. Now, I know that, and I guess I'll address this to brother Art and brother Rob because they're educators. Now, we see schools like this, the ones that we're talking about right now, right? And there's not a lot of them. They're doing good works now. Brothers like brother Art, brother Rob. I mean, I watch brother Rob's channel and I watch some of his stuff. He's there. He's on the ground, literally on the ground, somewhere where most of us are not. And I know that brother Art is on the ground, somewhere where most of us are not. But the one problem that I have is that there's not enough of them. And it pisses me off that it's not enough of these places where brothers like brother Rob, brother Art are there educating other people as educators. We only have one of these schools in a city, but we got 45 churches. with all the good works that these brothers is doing. Imagine how much great work they could do if black folks was more behind them. Because like I said, we got 2 schools like this in a whole city, but we got 100 churches. Black folks got 100 churches, but we only got 1 school like this. You understand? That's the only problem that I have with it.
And it's a damn shame, to be quite honest. It really is.
Your brother Rob.
Yes, sir. Man, peace to all of the good brothers on the panel. Thanks for inviting me, Info. I'm very passionate about this subject. I am an educator. I'm a dean of students here in Chicago at Innovations High School. Um, um, to be quite honest with you, this discussion that we're having today is based in structural inequality. Um, I'm not exactly sure what the funding stream would be in South Carolina, but the median. Um, I mean, I'm just assuming based on the population and the tax base that y'all probably getting between 8,500 to 9,000 per student. Um, and so that is why they need at the very minimum 85 students literally to be in seats in order for that school to operate. So uh, the reason why parents are pulling out of the school, you mentioned it earlier, low test scores. Low test scores will get your, no child left behind funding snatched faster than somebody not watching they iPhone on the L. You know what I'm saying? Straight up, low test scores. That is why most teachers teach towards testing versus truly educating children. I understand your passion behind wanting to teach them Afrocentric cultural worldview. And my suggestion, good brother, in all humbleness, and this is just my opinion, what we got to do is find workarounds. We have to be realistic. Um, our tax base, politics is the business of spending our tax money. And because we don't have um, the political representation and the economic representation that we need in order to really uh, put forth a fight so that schools like this can operate. Um, let's just say that the odds are daunting. You know what I mean? We literally have parents that you said it yourself, brother. It's an Afrocentric curriculum. Why would a parent want to pull their student out of a school like that for black boys? They don't understand the political time of day. We are politically naive. Um, Economics is more of a social interaction than a financial interaction. And because those parents are pulling out, and we are in the spring semester, to be I don't want to be Debbie Downer here, but if you're talking about private funding, y'all need that committed. Y'all need that committed before August. Y'all need, because based on 85 students, that's $850,000, and that's not enough to run a school. Um, so man, the odds are great, brother. Y'all gonna need some NFL players or something. You know what I'm saying? Holla at Cam Newton. Shit. I mean, cause like man, right now it don't look good. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just being honest with you. You know what I'm saying? So if you can reach any of the administrators there, um, I'm sure they in scramble mode now, and that funding is the most important thing. I mean, because the lights don't come on because you're passionate about what you're teaching. The lights come on because of that money.
Yeah.
Smart boards and drag race markers and, you know, copy machines and ink and all. Man, you don't understand. Running a school, man, that's big business. That's big business. Big business. The dairy farmers in the state of Illinois, right? And I'm gonna close on this just to put a capstone on what we looking at. We talking about major money, right? The dairy farmers in the state of Illinois last in 2016, they don't have the final numbers for 2017, 2018 yet. But 2016, the dairy farmers here, and they delivering milk to schools and prisons. $750 million. That's just the dairy farmers here in the state of Illinois, you know. So we talking big business. We talking big business. And so we got to think huge. We got to think big. This problem is it's systemic. We talking about structural inequality, not just the closing of that school, brother.
Yeah, I wanted to say something real quick before. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. You done, brother Rob?
Yeah, I'm done.
I wanted to say something real quick before brother Manny tomorrow comes on. Um, the one thing, I mean, I'm kind of against it, but it works. You got to find some. I mean, when you have a situation like this, you got to find some way to implement a technology computer program in there because that funds the whole thing. You know, when you have, I don't know if you know, because they have the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I know it sounds crazy, but they do fund certain schools of ethnicity. But you would have to, you know, implement some kind of technology plan in there for them to fund your whole school. Maybe it can be a 2-year plan or 4-year plan till you get on your feet. But it has to be something with technology where there's computers. The reason why I'm against it because it takes away from the natural abilities and they rely on the technology. But other than that, that would probably be a good Hail Mary pass. I'm done.
Yeah, I have a solution for all of this. Money that's been misappropriated and being spent inappropriately. I just propose most black people to require in a 90th percentile that all money that is being donated and taken in through the church to be spent exactly on the black community. Like, I don't want any millionaires or billionaires to be made off of black dollars within the church construct. See, once you force people to take in money to spend it a certain way, you don't have to worry about the government because those people are going to spend it on schools, they're going to spend it on hospitals, they're going to spend it on everything else. Mike, I'm in 4 different states trying to get this done. The reason why I don't talk about it is because you have to slide it in before you can actually bring it out to the populace because otherwise they'll shut us down in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So we spend a lot of money. So it's that if you can direct corporations who we spend our money with, the Walmarts, the Foot Lockers, the Nike, the Reebok, the whatever, that a portion of your monies that you take in from XYZ people, which is us, needs to be spent on education and food and everything else for the actual people who you make the money off of. That is a way that you can knock all this down without reparations because that is something that you can do independently of government.
Man, that man, to add on to your point, that's powerful, brother. But
It is.
that was one of the solutions that I was gonna suggest. That if y'all have any representation at any state house in South Carolina, they can direct some emergency funding for that school to stay open. But they need political will.
Okay.
Yes.
Um. So what I put into the chat was HR Bill 42. It's a bill I've been following for a while because I'm part of the Geechee Gullah Nation, and it's a very important thing. I'm not sure how many of y'all keep track of that. African American history will be getting changed soon enough. You will not be called, your ancestors will not be called slaves, they would be called servants. History will be changed on how things were looking and how they were said and how they were done. It is very important that we as a people know our history. When you go to a Jewish school, they teach their customs, their culture, their traditions. They do not try to teach they do not try to teach American customs before their own. Because they know that if I have to let somebody else teach my people, they're not going to teach my people how they should be taught. I'm going to tell y'all, and I'm going to be for real. I sent out the message action to different people to donate and help the school. And in doing that, I have had people message me, fuck them. That's a single mother's problem. Those ain't my damn kids. Nigga, what are they gonna do with my money? I ain't got shit to do with them. I can go on a whole goddamn story, a whole goddamn chapter of just how many black men alone I asked for help, and how many times I got messages and doors closed in my face. You know, and there's nothing against no brother on this panel, but I'm pretty sure the sister herself, there would have been no need for her to literally have put out a post begging black men to come to that school. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Why would she have to beg black men to come to a school that is for black boys? Because that means our people are saying, fuck our kids. That ain't my problem. Because there should be no reason why they have to outsource to people outside of the community to go get help. Not to say that there are some people who are trying, but these are trying times where I'm no longer my brother's keeper these days. So when I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at how now they're like, well, we hear it now when we say, I'd rather pull my community and put them in a white community. We can't pretend like we ain't been hearing this shit. We ain't gonna pretend like we haven't been hearing that the white man's ice is better than the black man's ice. We ain't gonna pretend like we ain't never heard that saying. So now we're hearing it when we come to the school. Again, we've seen a lot of athletes take a knee, but we damn sure ain't seen not one of them bring up this school. This school's been open for a while. Because it does not bring them any type of merit or thumbs up. It's only the feel good until it actually comes time to put in the work. You know? And that's the problem that I'm seeing. I'm not, and like I said, if I could only show y'all, and I'm not going to reveal everybody, but if I could only show y'all, and sometimes some of them are YouTubers too, that literally did some devious shit about the school, say, fuck them kids. That's why I said a lot of these men and women talk that good shit on this screen, but when it comes time to actually helping these kids, they say fuck them. But then y'all get mad why they all criminals and shit. Well, we gave up on these kids. When you start playing and start going into their indoctrination games, and I agree with you, Art, because now my kids, they have to carry a laptop. If they lose a laptop, they have to pay that back. I said, well, what the household doesn't have enough money to pay that laptop? Well, they'll have to make a payment plan. I'm like, well, shit, they already broke for something that they can't afford for themselves at their own home. But you want them to carry laptops back and forth. Now, it's a good incentive, but it's a failure. It's a failure to happen, especially if they live in a bad home where the people do drugs. These are things that the child wants a shot, but the type of home that they live in, and we can go on these types of stories. We know great men. Ben Carson's mom read, but he had to read. I know one boy, if he don't go grocery shopping and he's 14, his brothers and sisters don't eat. They survive off of their grandma's one check. Whenever I see him, I make him cut my grass and I give him $50. And I say, all right, keep your head up. The storm will not always be like this for you. This is things that we know go on in the black community between school and I got to go home to a shitty environment. And we got to understand these are low income. This is a low income community that they're pulling these boys from. So to access that, and again, just like y'all said about how they were pulling tuition from the people. This is not, there's no pulling tuition. I understand as a state, if I'm not sure, the state closed down the treasury to pull this funding. So there is nobody coming to save these boys. There is none. That is it. Once a treasury, and me and man tomorrow talked about how governments work, once a treasury pulls back from y'all, or they say, yo, after this, that's it. Y'all who worked in the school system, y'all know how that is when they say, yo, what's going on with Chicago teachers? They got to pay for their own school supplies. Why ain't the state taking care of that? And that's Chicago. So imagine how it is in South Carolina right now. Game that they play with our school, they're no longer trying to go after adults. Fuck going after adults. Go after the black kids now. But if I can get the black kids to have desperation where they say there's no real type of chance in the black community, I got y'all. Because then he understands. Go ahead, Prophet. I didn't mean to get too emotional.
No, let me ask you a question, brother B.M.T. If this school, go ahead and closes down or goes into default or whatever, what happens to the students that are in there? What happens to them after that? If this school goes, what happens?
They get pushed into other schools. I think like Charleston school. They get put into Charleston County schools that they're just not the best schools. This school, they don't have that. They don't worry about bullying. They don't worry about having to have certain type of clothing and stuff. It's all uniform. Everything at the school is pretty much taken care of. So the natural things that most black kids worry about, girls, uniforms, and all that other kind of crazy shit, these boys don't worry about that kind of stuff. Again, I know I said I was pushing alpha-centric type of stuff, but let's be for real. When's the last time we went to a school where they're teaching y'all handwriting, like actually how to write cursive? These boys learn that. When's the last time they say we're going to take y'all to an African-American jazz museum? These boys go there. When this is done, that is it. They're going to a white public school. That's it. I ain't got nothing. I'm just trying y'all understand how that plays for black boys.
Let me just say something, if I could, too, BMT. This is a problematic problem that we have as a people. In some cases, it really bothers me when I know for a fact that, especially living in San Francisco for some time, Chinese have a Chinese school. Their kids will go to regular school, and then they go to quote unquote Chinese school. Jewish people have a school for their people. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, Temple University was originally a university that was set up for those that were Jewish, because Jewish people couldn't go to other types of schools. When you look at Georgetown was set up for people that were Catholic. Nobody is telling Georgetown they need to change their philosophy. Nobody tells Jewish people that they should not have curriculums that fit their narratives. But it seems once again, when Black people want to have a narrative for ourselves, we are made to be ashamed. We're made to have to change to fit in, and no other group is made to fit in. It is happening with the historical Black colleges, where they want to like shut some of them down and say, well, why do you need Black colleges? Like I said, nobody is asking Georgetown to shut their doors down from their narratives of being a Catholic university. I just don't understand it. And Black people, we're always asked to take the shit and shovel the shit. And I'm sick and tired of it. Now, we get on these streams and constantly we talk about what is wrong with the Black family. And we talk about that we have some Black women that are pushing a patriarch system to our young boys, and that our young boys are growing up with this feminine energy that is going to be a detriment to us. And here you have a situation in which you have a all Black boys school, one of its own kind, and may look like it may be the last. And here we have an opportunity where Black boys are getting a masculine energy. You have a sister who's calling on Black men to take arms in this situation. And we talk about this situation on YouTube all the time about how we need to take command of our black young men. And if you are asking brothers to, whether it be donate to a GoFundMe or use their connections to tell other people about this school, whether it be fraternities, sororities, civic organizations that you're a member of, 100 black men, whatever the hell it is. Or if you're simply asking black men on YouTube who have a hell of a lot more following than I have to simply do a show about this, to bring gravity to this. And if they're giving you pushback, brother, then shame on them. And I would go as further to say that they're maybe not in the best interest of black people. I'm just being honest, because, and we're not asking everybody to save the school just singly by themselves, but collectively we could probably do a hell of a lot, doing whatever we can do, whatever it could be that we can do. And then I talked to you about Dr. Umar Johnson. I think he said that he has a $700,000. He wants a black boys school. Here you got a school that's got the infrastructure right there. Okay, I think when he did that video showing that he brought some school or he's renting some school, well, he's got to fix that place up if he actually really owns it or renting it, right? Here you got a place that's already in structure, and if he's got the money to invest, you could make an argument that he would have just as much right to probably push the curriculum that he wants. And they're already saying that they're pushing an Afrocentric style of learning. Well, that's right up his creek, or any black man's creek. I just don't understand why in the 21st century this is continuing to happen to us.
And the reason why I brought those other schools up is because, you know, it wouldn't hurt to reach out to find out how they're getting through their struggles as well. So you got to be able to connect with people across the world here, because, you know, obviously this is not a one school problem. So at least try to do that.
He's absolutely right.
Like, I agree with you, brother Art. I agree. And like, again, I don't want nobody in the panel to feel like at no means I'm coming at any of y'all. It's just that it's heartbreaking to me because I'm here watching the last of a black boys' school, and my classmates, he put his boys in that school. And when you're watching something of your own flesh and blood be shut down in front of you, there won't be no more of this. There's no Obama coming to save us. Ain't no white man Jesus coming down in the sky. There is nothing, black man, that is stopping this right now.
Now, B.T.,
it's only gonna be us.
Now, I'm not political or anything. And you mentioned, you know, things about the Democratic people doing all these kind of things against the school. The question is, what are the Republicans doing to help out?
Well, that for me to be a Republican and a conservative, it cut me deep to know that the Republican treasurer cut the funding.
Ouch.
From the school. So you understand how deep that would hurt me from my political party to pull this bullshit. You get what I'm saying?
Is South Carolina a red state? Are they a red state? Is South Carolina a red state?
Yeah, they're a red state.
Wow.
They're a red state. So you see how I feel? I'm like, damn, I voted for the same people that are hurting my own people in this. Talk about a mind fuck for me. Excuse my language. I didn't mean to be cursing like that, but damn. So now I'm doing everything I can. Once you already understand, once Treasury gets pulled from a school, that's it.
Let me ask you this.
What about getting funding from black businesses in the state or corporations?
Some of us are doing that. Some of us are doing that right now, Mr. D.
Okay.
Some of us are actually doing that. That's why I said. That's why I first started off saying my company and what is my some of my family company. There's different black entities that don't want to go name. We are trying to help out. You know what I'm saying? Just send $50 here, $1,000 here. We're pledging different pools of money. I think a reverend, he gave $100,000. You follow me? So different people are trying. We are trying. We're not just, you know what I'm saying? I think Formation Man would have pulled up the website, pull up the donating site. you'll see people who are donating money. You follow me? So different people are trying to keep the school going.
On a funny note, just to lighten up the room a little bit, we need to find the people that keep bailing out R. Kelly to do some donations over in that direction.
Oh shit. That would be amazing. That would be amazing if they just did that.
They come up with that money out of the nowhere, you know.
But see, wait a minute though. All right, you bring up a good point, brother. Here you got a man in R. Kelly, goes to jail, can't pay his more problems as we know. And all of a sudden, in terms of what the media said, it's not a woman or someone was able to come up with this money, his fans or whoever, and got him out of prison. A man who supposedly likes to touch underage girls and have sex. So here we have a situation where we have a school. Where are these same type of individuals that will bail a Negro out of prison or out of jail who may be possibly doing some inappropriate things with young women? Where is that? That is a sad commentary for us as people for this to be happening. But I have a question for Brother B.M.T. Remember I talked to you about James Clyburn. I know he's a representative of South Carolina. He's a Congress, or maybe he's a member of the Congress.
Yes, sir.
When you say that it was your own party that cut the funding, are we talking, are these black Republicans that did this, or is it white, or does it really matter? I'm just curious because I have a problem when it's our own people who do this to each other, no matter what the political affiliations are.
At this point, brother, it don't even matter now. And it's, if you say anything politically or business savvy about trying to fix this, they attack you. I want you to understand how bad this is for some people. You try to help this because I'm a governmental contractor, and I told Info that some people are waiting for the school to shut down so that way they can flip it and turn it into something to make money off of. That's what people are waiting on. They're waiting for these black boys to get out that building to flip it. I'm not gonna take part in that. I'm not. For political wise, if you want to stay in your chair or you want to keep your position, you'll stay the fuck away from that school. You ain't gonna touch that school. That's what we do know. That's why I'm like, why ain't Tim Scott talking about the school? Why ain't a lot of these black Republicans talking about the school? Because they know if they do that, they're going to have a hard time in coming elections. Me and Man Tomorrow, MOT, we talked about this. So they're not going to try to openly defend the school. It would make sense, in perfect world, but they're not going to fucking try to say this goddamn school.
Is the school in their district? Like, is this in Tim Scott's district where the school is? How about Clyburn? Him either. It's not in their district, so
it would just feel better if they at least try to, nudge some people in the right direction. You know what I'm saying, Prophet? Just nudge some people to leave the school.
Last night, brother, if you could get some of these politicians like a Clyburn to look at this because they've got the direct line to funding. Many of these Black Caucus members always are touting about education, touting with Black people. And here we have a situation in which you have a school for Black young men, and we always talk about doing for self. And here we have a perfect situation. And what's really a shame is that these young men will be absorbed into the system, and they will get a education that may be inferior to what maybe they were getting, or an education that does not speak to their needs. And there's some tangible things that you mentioned that they were doing at this school. Like I said, the yoga, the exercise, the spiritual component to it, creative arts, as well as the academics, are things that they may not get when they are absorbed into the regular system. And another thing that I want to touch on too is that a lot of times Black boys, when they're in school, I was a victim of this, we are labeled as learning disabled, special ed, hyperactive. Brother Darrell knows what I am, and being a therapist that he is. And a lot of times we're being labeled this by white teachers, white women who tend to go into the teaching. And this is why having a school where you have a black men and black presence there to teach them can get them away from that type of being victimized in that manner. And then what I want to say, I thought here, this is the thing I have to ask you, Brother B.M.T. Do you believe that one of the reasons why this school is being shut down is that there may be forces behind the scene? I'm going pro-black on you now, that don't want to see black males come up like this, don't want to see something positive that reflects a different narrative that wants school. And so whatever the school is trying to do, no matter what the school does, they've been sabotaged. Do you think there's some sabotage here? There's something at play here to purposely make sure that black young men don't are the school district so that they can continue to operate on their minds in a negative manner. What do you think? I think there's some foul play going on here.
I know there's some foul play. We understand that because now the school board, after the 7-1, the last vote, they're now trying to remove these boys out of the school. And I'm like, never have we ever seen a state literally turn its back the way they have now on a school. Mind you, they're not doing this school. They're not doing this type of school anymore. The masculinity for black boys is already being challenged. Positive influence of black men is already being challenged. Black men and black boys relationships in a positive environment is already being challenged. Y'all brothers understand what I'm saying? Everything that we do, it always gets challenged or rocked. I now believe there is no force ever really. Every time a black man tries to do something positive, there's always 99 evils set up against them. And I'm like, damn, I get you don't like me, but damn it, leave the boys alone. Now, it's crazy because this black woman and some of these other women and some other men, they're trying to keep the school afloat. In other schools, they got enough problems trying to keep their. So this I'm not saying they're out there in the ocean afloat, adrift, but everybody knows that's why I brought it up. This school is being targeted. That's why it literally is in the newspaper, the last of its kind. Because there's a reason. Listen, once the school's gone, you don't see no artists or people with money, $1 million people trying to help the school. We'll talk about funding goddamn Nike, but we ain't gonna talk about trying to help this school? Come on, man. Come on now. I mean, we've had presidents come through through our town. We had a lot of different people politically come to that town, and you can't tell me they ain't hear about this goddamn school. But they're not going to touch it because it goes against so many goddamn agendas about the black man and the black home and the black community. It goes against every goddamn narrative that they put on us. So I'm going to keep fighting. I know that if this school survives, it beats so many goddamn odds. When it's gone, they just throw us right back in the system again.
Yeah, you mentioned that other schools are struggling too, and you said a school of this kind. So, are there other specialty type schools around there that's of afloat? Like we mentioned Jews and age or probably Asians. Do they have their own type of setup there as well, or is it just only black and white?
It's black and white schools. Black and white schools. This is the only school of its kind. This in all of most of the East Coast. This is the only school. We've already checked. So there's no real outreach for this type of school. Y'all get what I'm saying? That's it. Once the school closes, it was supposed to be a project to see if can a all black boys school be flourishing for black young boys. So once it's gone, that's it. They ain't doing this again.
And there's a reason why this happens, by the way. Because I'm from Mississippi, and they shut down all the black boys' school in Mississippi like about 40 years ago. Like my mother on her deathbed was telling me about these type of schools that used to exist for black people before the actual integration. And my grandmother used to teach at one of these type of schools, and so did she. But after integration, they kind of cut the funding down because black men was not that disorganized in those type of black schools. They only became the force of this sort of disorganization after they left those type of schools because they was taught by their own people. Like if you go to a Native American actual Indian reservation, they may have white teachers who are there who are white women, but they are teaching Native American curriculum. We don't have that for black people. Period. So when those people come in and they shut down those schools, they shut down the actual idea of anything black thought out and preserved to actually be taught to the actual children of the school. So it's not the school that's being shut down, it's the actual idea of what's being taught there that's being shut down.
Thank you. That's
Yeah,
where that's where I was trying to get at when you said that, brother. Is I believe it's the actual what they're teaching, which is why I said it seems like every other group of people in this country can teach their kids their history, their knowledge, but when it comes to us, there's a problem. I think if this was just a regular garden variety type school, this school would probably have no problems. Now, brother Mike V, Brain Trust, and make sure you all check out the Black Brain Trust. He asked a very important question: how many extensions was the school given in terms of to meet their quotas? B.M.T, I believe, wasn't it $3,000 that the system absorbed for them? 300,000. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, brother?
I keep muting myself. Yeah, I keep muting myself by accident.
Yeah, I think it was the school was given what, 2 extensions. And I read somewhere that was 300,000 that they absorbed, the system absorbed. But go ahead, brother.
Right. They gave him 2 extensions of 300,000.
Okay.
Now, some people say, well, why so much? First of all, they're on a military installation. They're on a military installation. These boys, the school and everything around it is it's a nice area. So this is not no type of rundown type of mill kind of place. If y'all know, you can rent out military installation buildings and stuff like that. They are costly, but they're upkept by the government for the most part. The fact that they did that was a huge jump ahead of having to go buy a building or different stuff. They just went and got it from a governmental building. Now, in that sense, now for a preparatory school, you get paid like I believe brother Rob said per student. Again, the narrative is a black school can't compete with a white school. I'm gonna say it like that. Because
Joe, for those type of schools on the military installation, those schools are covered by the defense budget. They're not covered by anything else outside of the defense budget.
Correct.
So where they're looking for money at is places where the money's not at.
Right.
So I can easily get inside their school and figure out what's happening. But for any type of school, like if you went to an overseas installation, there are overseas schools for overseas kids. And if you were to look at it properly, all that money is actually covered under the defense budget. So they don't need to actually raise money for the school. It's just that they think they can get those people out of there over something that people don't know about. But if it's on a military installation, and I'm glad you said that, we could just go to the Defense Department and be like, you know what? You need to cut money from every other place, but you need to cover schools first. Because if you ever went to any military installation over schools, Overseas, they got the best schools on the planet. The best, well-funded schools on the planet. Just because they are funded by military installations. For a school that is to be insular for black people to be actually cut their funding of, or the actual mission of, they don't have the money. That doesn't even sound right. Just on the military installation, because the military installation is supposed to support every single solitary function that actually goes on that military base. I'm glad you said that, so that way I can go to the Pentagon and we can see what's going on about this school, because nobody should be raising any type of money for a school like this.
I agree. Go ahead, bro.
Go ahead, brother.
No, I know. I agree what you're saying. That's why I said there are some evils behind closed doors at work to push these people off the military installation.
Well,
like I said, go ahead.
Did they see this coming, or I mean, were they blindsided by this? You know,
they were blindsided by many.
No, we're gonna find out, because these 5-year planning in the process. So you can't walk up and say that you want to do this. They're gonna have to explain this in the budget 5 years ago, because military installations function on 5-year and 10-year plans. So if somebody wanted to say that they didn't want to fund something 5 years ago, and like any piece of land on the military installation has to be put up and sold years in advance. It isn't something that's all of a sudden or even automatic, like what you're saying. So we need to find out what company gave what money to what corporation to be able to get those people to vote on the actual fact that those people don't get to do that on their military installation. That's easy to figure out. Way easier to figure out than you think.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Go ahead.
Yeah, have you heard of Dr. Steve Perry?
Dr. Steve Perry? Who is he? Art?
He's the one that came up with the Capital Preparatory School. He's been on CNN quite a bit, on different platforms, on different news channels. And he talked about his success rate. I believe he was based in Connecticut. And he's all over the place, spreading how things can be done for these particular types of schools. I dropped the information in the chat if you want to go ahead and reach out to him and see whether or not if he could, lend some assistance, because basically he has a large platform. Dude is very successful.
Okay. I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I like the, as far as, did you post the information to donate, or is there a way that we can possibly donate for everything? I'd like to, maybe
I can go ahead and grab it.
Go ahead and grab that, because I've been trying to look for that, but I'm not finding.
I'll put it up there.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Also, what I wanted to ask is obvious. This school is obviously an instrument that is seen as a way of fighting white supremacy, and that's the reason why they're responding to this in the way in which they are, because they don't want something positive like this that can promote positive black males. So let's say whatever the budget is or whatever, that you reach the goal that is needed in order to function and stay open. What do you think would be the preventative measures in the future to maybe prevent this from happening again, or to prevent this situation, or to in some way fight this in a better manner?
One of the big things that was brought up that can definitely is numbers. It's numbers. One of the things that I believe one of the school board members, it was the minister. I don't know why we keep putting ministers on the board, but they said, well, y'all not producing enough people to show results. If you know how government work, if you don't have enough people in a section or in a division, they shut down that whole division. You get what I'm saying, brother? And the problem is getting black people to want to put their sons in this type
of school.
Yeah. So we can already say, and you and I and a lot of us on this panel already know, it's hard getting the community to put black boys into these type of programs because there's like a big distrust that anything good we can do or set up for our own people. And because they can't get, like, they only need 85 people, but now they're teetering down to 53. So they're pretty much like, why are we keeping the doors open for y'all? Y'all don't even have enough people. So she already made a education program to show that, hey, I can make a program plan specifically geared for each child, which she has done. But getting the kids to come to the school, that is the biggest issue. Because, again, I'd rather put little Timmy in a little league football league that's coming out of Charleston Elementary. So the school's not that big. So it's kind of hard to get to see black kids actually getting put, or black boys. Because, again, here we go again with that. And I mean, for some of y'all already know, well, why is it only for black boys? Why is that only for that? Why is that only? So when you got an inclusive group and you can't have it, this is nothing against the sisters, but this is something that's only for boys. And you already see if you can't have this group part of it, that's a problem. If you can't have that group part of it, that's a problem. Because when you're doing something by yourself and they don't know what the hell you're doing, they're like, oh, fuck it. Y'all need to shut that down. And we can't say we have not seen that before, but we have. So that's a big issue that we're trying to get a lot of black people to say, yo, hey, please bring your children back. I mean, if you can bring your kids back, we can make this work. But again, the white man's ice is better, as some people believe.
Okay.
So let me get something right here. Brother B.M.T, Brother Man of Tomorrow made a very, very powerful statement that I now has given me made my eyebrows curl up. And you said that if this is on military ground, and it's part of the military, that there should be no reason that this should be happening in the way it is. Can you repeat that statement again for everybody to hear that again? Because that one really took me.
Okay. There isn't, out of a church, any nonprofit organization that is allowed to exist on side of a military installation. So if this is a school for actual kids on a military installation, that is covered in the defense budget for this school. So they're trying to supplement the actual budget that is in place for this school on a military installation. That's illegal. That means that people have already spent the money in some other type of way that people don't know about. So what you have to do is you have to put the flashlight on what's actually happening on this military installation. Because this isn't the only place that has schools on it for a specific type of people. Overseas, there's always schools for specific type of nationalities or military installations for people who escape all types of violence in their country or whatsoever. So if this is actually the way that they're trying to defund the schools, that means that the money has already been spent in another way on that installation, which is illegal. It's great that we're raising money for it, but we need to figure out where the money has been spent, which is the reason why you have to raise money, because you can't, like me as a person, even though I have contract with the United States Air Force, I can't go out and make a United States Air Force pledge to raise money for the actual contract that I'm on. That would be money laundering and that would be illegal, depending on what I spend the money on. So we need to figure out where this money has been spent that has been allocated to the school, because every military installation sends their stuff up to the Defense Department, and that's how they formulate their actual budget. It's based on the actual schools, the actual operations, the actual everything that goes on military installations. So if this is on a military installation, then a lot of people got a lot of explaining to do. And especially if we're talking about a school, yeah, you got a hell of a lot more explaining to do because the money was covered at some point, but now it's not covered. So we need to find out what happened before and what's not happening now because to my estimate, the national budget for the military has been increasing. Even without a war going on in Iraq and Afghanistan, the budget still has been increasing. So how is it that you're shutting down an actual school on a military installation when the actual funding of the military is going up? And this is my idea of tying any type of reparations or everything to the actual military. Because the military don't get their budget questioned. So if you were to tie any type of reparations or any type of payments to black people, you could just sew it into the military budget. And you make it kind of tied to the same thing because people don't like questioning the military. So if a school is on a military installation and they're getting their funding cut for a school, I want to know how that's done because that's not even heard of. Because I have served on many military installations. I've been a resource officer in many schools on military installations. And I have never heard of a school having to close down on or anywhere near a military installation that's anywhere tied to government funds. I just have never heard of that.
Okay,
We
brother.
need to figure out where the money has been spent because the money.
Okay, let me just say a shout out to everybody in the chat room. Everybody out there in the chat room, thank you for being here. This is Information Man. We've got Brother Man of Tomorrow kicking it down, Prophet of Thought, Brother Rob, Art's been kicking it down, and of course our main guest of honor today is Brother B.M.T. You've got myself. We had Brother D. Darrell who's on. He's a certified therapist who came on. I've sent out a few links. I think George Macom, I sent a link out to him, hoping that he would come on board. I did send out a link to Q Butter because he's a brother in the New York area that is into teaching and working with the youth. This is a damn shame. And I'm just letting everybody know that this is an important discussion that we're having. I want to thank everybody that's listening. We're also on Spreaker Live podcasting system that I'm using. I want to say a shout out to everybody on that side of the fence that's listening to the podcast today. We're going to continue. Dr. Ford has just come in with a donation. Thank you, Sister Ford, for the super chat. I appreciate it. 06 and 08 to you. Now, let me tell you what I just did, brothers. While you all were talking, I was playing around with my phone on my social media. As a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, I just started sending links to all the different groups that I'm a member of in my fraternity to get this to other brothers. And what I'm telling you, in my organization, we have brothers that are educators, as are in Art's organization. He's a member of Mega Psi Phi. And it doesn't matter, the fraternity, sorority, if you're a member of the Prince Mason Hall, Prince Hall Masons, if you're a member of 100 Black Men, or you have a Black organization, or you are a Black businessman like Brother Man of Tomorrow, whatever you are, you can use this video to share on your social media, pass it on to other brothers, whatever you can do. If it means donating, if you know some people down there that are movers and shakers politically, that's why I did what I did, because there are some movers and some shakers politically within my organization. Hell, James Kleinberger might be a member of one of these groups. I know some of you call it the Boule, and I know everyone has their views of the Boule and what have you. But I can't say that I did that because there are movers and shakers who need to hear this and may be able to do something to get in contact with that sister who runs that school to intervene. So that's what I was doing. I was pushing this content throughout the social media to get the word out to further more people who will probably see this later, if not watching it live. So everybody in the chat room, you have one thing you need to do. If you can do this, it is much appreciated. We need you to share this. in your social media, all of your social media, and push it through. I know that everybody likes to listen to various live streams where people like to debate about some of the sexy issues, and maybe what we're talking about isn't sexy enough for you. But I'm telling you, this is important. This is what I'm trying to do on my program, and what these brothers are trying to do. Yes, we have a lot of shit going on in the black community that we need to clean up. Yes, we do. And the Manosphere talks about that often. But here we have another situation where we have black young men. And what I want to do, once the brothers continuing the conversation, I want to at some point, if it's not near the end of the program, I'm going to show you a couple of videos from the sister who runs the school. And if you go on that website, I'm going to put it in the chat room. There's a website for the Prestige Preparatory Academy where the kids are saying, help us. The kids are giving their eyewitness account of the fact that they want people to help the school. They have been on a campaign for helping the school. So with that said, everybody, I hope that what I said resonated in your minds and that you will be willing to go ahead and do what I said.
Information is power.
So we're going to get back to the program at hand where we are right now. Thank you, everybody, for listening so far. Okay. So where do we go from here, brother B.M.T? What I need to do with this video right now, at the point that we conclude, at some point I need to personally make sure that I put the GoFundMe on the page so that people that come across this will click into that. I'm going to do my best to viral this video and push it forth further into the social atmosphere, along with I would say everybody that's on this panel. Push it on within your own connections, because the word needs to get out. And I know that I'm prepared personally to donate money to the school, and I'm also prepared, like I said before, to use the connections that I have. And me and our brother B.M.T talked about this last night. There's a lot of connections that I have yet to utilize, and brother Art can relate to this, within my own personal organization, brothers that are movers and shakers that I have not reached out to per se. But I think it's time to take the gloves off and for me to start taking it there and calling in some favors to bring black men onto these platforms that are businessmen like Brother of Tomorrow, Man of Tomorrow, but brothers that are really doing some stuff and not just talking. That's how I'm feeling right now. And I know everybody on this panel does stuff, that you don't just talk. That is the reason why I send out these links, because I wanted to get brothers on the channel that could bring gravity to the issue, logically, not overly emotional. We could have an intelligent conversation. And in particular, the two brothers that are on here, Brother Rob and Art, who have experience in teaching. I did send out some links to other folks who have not been able to come on board yet. So with that said, who would like to get into that question? I say, where do we go from here? What are the thoughts? What are the thoughts you have?
Let me go ahead and speak on this, man, because we talk about these schools and they're great things. They're great things that take place, and the reason why schools like this stay afloat, that are probably way bigger than this school in South Carolina, is because people are behind the school. Now, this school here is failing for whatever reason. And I'm disappointed, man. I'm disappointed in our pessimism and our distrust with other black folks. I say pessimism because many of us, we see the glass half empty as opposed to half full. So people who have resources and people who could help this school out, they look at this school and they say, okay, with a pessimistic view, they say, okay, this school is failing. It's mishandling the funds. It's not worth it. There's not enough people. So it's just a waste. The distrust is that people who probably backed the school in its early stages have pulled out. So where are we now? We left in a conundrum right now where you have something that's actually good for Black boys, but there's not enough money. So we come back full circle again. Not enough support, not enough trust, not enough optimism. And that's a roving, hovering theme within Black society, not just with schools, but with practically everything else. I'll rest on that.
Brother Rob, do you have anything you want to add, Brother Rob?
Yeah, I don't understand the full political climate in South Carolina, so in no way, shape, or form could I speak specifically to the problem. But I know that it really depends on the funding stream. So I think the brother hit the nail on the head when he was saying that it was already in the budget for the school to operate. Um, I was just bringing up some of the challenges earlier, and was just trying to put in a nutshell the challenges and maybe starting over, maybe making this into an after-school program. Those are things that we have to consider as options. The work still has to be done. We still have to reach our kids, even if, you see what I mean? In spite of. Right? So sometimes I don't have everything I need to operate and do all of the things that I want to do. This is where sacrifice comes in at, where the rubber meet the road at, you know? On my dime, a lot of kids get shoes, uniform pants, goddamn bus fare. How you gonna send your kids to school and they ain't got enough bus fare? Mr. Williams, can you tap them on today? Man, I got 400 kids showing up a day, man. Think about how many times I hit that. You know, I don't go around asking for nothing because I understand that it's a sacrifice that got to be done. You know, our people are hurting. We are trauma victims. We don't even understand like how bad we hurt. You know, this would be the rallying cry right here. Why would we draw back? That's what I'm trying to understand, the political climate in South Carolina. Because with the deaths in that church a few years ago now and everything, man, I would think that the community would be united. So because again, I don't understand the political climate, I'll fall back.
Information man, if you check the chat, I put in
Yes.
I figured that y'all were gonna ask about that. If you click the chat, the last thing I put in there for the Post and Courier, this is the news for South Carolina, most of South Carolina.
Okay.
It tells you right now, and please share it. Please screen share it.
Okay.
This is gonna answer a lot of questions y'all asked about what's going on with money.
Okay. And I also saw. Let me just let you know what I'm going to probably share my screen at some point in time. I also seen the HR 40 Commission to Study Development Reparation Proposal for. Well, that's something else. That might be from another show.
No. That right there is, remember when y'all were asking about about the Afrocentric teaching?
Yeah. This
See
is
that
what
bill right there?
Mm-hmm.
That means African American history that is taught in school.
All right.
Is going to get changed.
Okay. I just shared my. I'm gonna see. Can everybody see that? I just put that on my screen. Let's see if that. Can any of you see that on the screen right now? Yes or no? Well, probably not. Let me see. Let me see what I'm gonna do here. I know what I gotta do. Let me just share this on the screen with folks right now. Boom. And then let's present this.
Just click on yours, and then
yeah, there we go. You should all be able to see that, right?
Right. That right there is the bill that was just passed just last year. That's going to be changing up the study and development of a reparation proposal and African American Act for history and how we learn African American history. How me, you, and a lot of us who went to school earlier, how we learn African American history is going to be changed and rewritten in books.
Can you explain how it's going to be rewritten? You mentioned how they want to change the words and say that we were indentured servants and not the word slave. Break that down a little bit more, brother.
Okay, so pretty much, if y'all know literature, words have meaning, definite meaning behind them. To say slave, that means you don't have a choice. To say servant, that means you are taking on a job. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? So when you're teaching children that, hey, your ancestors came over here as immigrants or indentured servants, the emphasis of slavery does not have the same merit as it would when you say my ancestors were kidnapped and turned into slaves. Y'all brothers understand what I'm saying? Yes. This is very big. This is a very big play move in a lot of schools, because that means your history as Black American, and we got to admit, a lot of stuff that we used to learn in school back then for African American studies has changed to where it is now. The most these kids know about is Dr. King, Malcolm X. You tell them anybody past that, like CJ Wright, or you start naming some other Black names. Like I was talking to some kids about, y'all know about the Tuskegee Airmen. Who are those? That's like the 5 heartbeats. I'm like, Jesus Christ. But that's where it's going when it comes to our history. It's going to get rewritten, where they choose what needs to be said and what needs to be rewritten. And because we're not teaching it, they will choose how they teach it to us. Again, that is a big game changer. That is why when and I have an article I shared with the chat. The school, one of the things they got in trouble with was the teacher. She was teaching the children, the Black boys, about social injustice that goes on in society. That's something that you don't really hear taught in Black schools. Understand me? So when you got somebody teaching y'all about social injustices and teaching y'all about laws and law placements, and I just shared with you the next thing, South Carolina's already been found out that that many charter schools are racially imbalanced and triggering investigation. In other words, misappropriation of funds and money is not getting distributed evenly and fairly to the charter schools, especially minority-based charter schools. So when I know a lot of y'all ask, well, what's going on with the money? What's happening with the funding? Well, you have it right there. And if Information Man shares it, most of the South Carolina public charter schools do not reflect the racial makeup of the school districts where they are located according to students' head counts from 2017 to 2018. Now, that's important because when did the school start? 2016. It's only been open for 3 years. So for 2017 to 2018, they've been relocated racial makeup. That's a big game changer. Under a South Carolina law meant to prevent segregation, charter schools enrollment figures may vary of their school district or targeted student population. Targeted student population. So if I'm targeting to teach young, but I'm not getting the appropriated resources and fund, y'all get what I'm saying, brothers? If I'm not getting that money, or my paperwork is not getting pushed through like it would be for some other schools, that can make the difference in a lot of things. Again, I'm telling you, there are some entities at work that are playing around with our children. So by no more than 20%, last school year, 44 of the 70 public charter schools, nearly 2/3 broke that rule. 44 out of 70 charter schools broke that rule. 44 out of 70.
brother. And
So y'all can do.
let me go ahead real quick and give a shout out to let me see, the one and only me. Thank you, brother, for the super chat. Thank you, Carl's opinion. And I want to say thank you to brother Full Circle for the super chat. We got to give you a clap, brother. All of you. Okay. The clap is for all of you. Thank you for the support. Let me go ahead and AM1, I tried to send you, AM1, if you're out there, brother, let me fix my mic here. I tried to send you a link. Full Circle, if you want to come on board, drop your email or something in chat room, because I thought I had it and I'm having a hard time finding that. But not to cut brother B.M.T off. He's making great points. You've got a situation where this is a sabotage, it seems to be to me. There's no doubt about it. And I think it's been said already, because of the type of style of school and fashion in which they're teaching our young men. Let me go right ahead and share something on my screen, if I can. Hang on for a moment, everybody. Just give me a minute while I set this up, and I'll cue it up in a moment. So you can see that's the academy. Let me let you hear one of these young men talking.
You got him on mute.
I will in just a moment. Give me a break. Give me just a moment so that I can unmute this and share it to everyone on the screen. And okay. Okay, let me go ahead and show you another video that's very important. Let me enlarge this. And this is the sister herself on a program in Charleston, South Carolina. Let's go right ahead.
There's no sound, brother Info.
There's no sound?
Nope.
All right, let me, I know what I got to do. Let me, I know what I got to do. Let me see. Let me see here. Let me go back in here. And so there it goes. Not muted. So I wonder why I'm not getting any sound. Let me see. Let me go back into here. Back on there. And can you hear it? Can you hear it? Can everybody hear it in the chat room?
I don't think there's no sound.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's no sound, brother.
Okay. Let me stop that. So basically there's no sound. Let me check and see what's having. Okay, let me see if this may change that. Let me know if you brothers can hear this now. Can you brothers hear now?
A lot of feedback.
Yeah,
Okay.
kind of.
Too much feedback. Okay. Let me just stop that. So basically, for whatever reason, I'm not able to, no one can hear this. So this is on, let me see. I wish I could fix that problem. Okay, everybody, I'm sorry about that. I was trying to play a actual video where the sister, who is the administrator of the school, is letting you know basically a little bit about the school, what the goals of the schools are, what it was founded for. And it's a lot of it is a little bit of what we've already talked about now, but I kind of wanted to give it from her point of view. So let's move on from that right now. I don't know if I'm having some technical issues with the sound, and I've got to figure out what that could be that's causing the problem. But let's move on and go from there. So what are your thoughts so far, brothers? This academy, let me read further in that article. Cut down the feedback. The article that I was reading earlier about the school twittering on the brink. Let me just read this here. South Carolina was an early, let me see here. Let me see. The trend quickly fell out of favor at the state national level. So right in here, it talks about the Democratic State Education Superintendent Jim Rex, who hired a statewide coordinator for single gender initiative. In the 2007, it began offering free training for teachers at those schools. By 2008, state records indicated that 214 public schools were offering single gender programs, including gender segregated all boys and all girls schools. The trend quickly fell out of favor. Now, this could be a factor in this too. Fell out of favor at the state national level. Okay, detractors condemned the research supporting the purpose benefit, as particularly after the American Psychological Association found that no significant benefits for boys or girls in a 2014 report. So basically, in a nutshell, they came out with some report trying to make a claim that there is no significant learning curve when you have segregated schools, if I'm reading that correctly. I don't agree with that, but they sometimes, that's what I'm saying. They go with these reports, they go with these numbers, and that causes them to react in some cases. Now in South Carolina, Jim Rex succeeded Republican Superintendent Mick Zeltz, eliminated the single gender coordinator position from the office. So what's going on when you ask the question, brother Rob, what is the political climate in South Carolina? This article is speaking upon that to a certain degree, that there is something politically going on or has been going on in South Carolina around the issues of single gender schools. It's out of favor to a certain degree. They're not feeling it anymore, which is why I believe Prestige Preparatory Academy is being impacted, and they're also being impacted because of what we just said earlier, because it's an all black boys school and what they're teaching to all black boys in some cases. In the state, last unofficial continues 2015, just 26 schools were offering single gender programs. So I guess Prestige Preparatory Academy would be one of those 26 schools in the state. Now, at least one other school, North Carolina, Northern Charleston, Morningside, Middle, operates its single gender academy in 2017. The Reverend Christian Collins, a school board member from North Charleston, asked the board on Monday to provide $100,000 to help Prestige keep its doors open this school year. Previously, in July 2016, the board forgave 300, which we had talked about before, 300,000 in debit that was owed to the district by the academy for comprehensive education. A charter school serves as a small population of students with multiple and severe disabilities, according to this article. Collins said that the district ought to at least give Prestige 3 full school years to prove itself. It makes it hard to keep up enrollment when you're constantly threatened to close the school. Yeah, you're lowering morale. Collins motion failed in a 6-2 vote. So this is part of the article that I was reading, and I'm going to put that in the chat room for folks to further look at that. Any other questions or anything else you want to add, Brother B.M.T, before we conclude?
Pretty much one of the things about it, I just wanted to conclude. I know y'all asking a lot about what's going on with funding and social. That is one of the things that Information Man just put out there. Another one is like that, is put out also, is that they are finding out that a lot of minority-based schools, like if a school is predominantly all Black, they're finding out a lot of minority-based schools are not getting the proper funding that their counterpart schools are supposed to be getting. I put that in the chat also. I could put it in the chat again. They are not getting the funding. And they're also finding out from doing research, the law enforcement is not enforcing this. So if the law is not enforcing these people to be fair with giving the proper programs and funding, that can greatly hurt and inflict harm to a community. So it's almost like you are forcing, you're starving out some of these children. I'm not. I want you to understand. So if y'all want to know just how bad it is, there is a great opposition against this. They're playing at a state and governmental level. So how does a bunch of people who don't know, what's going on behind closed doors, what some of these people are doing? Again, we're going to meetings, we're going to stuff. People are doing their part, but as you're reading, you're seeing that, damn, these guys are really out to get these children. These are children and old women that are fighting, as well as some men. That's just our fight that we're dealing with in the state of South Carolina.
Man, I'm just jump in here and say, man, look, brother, at some point you gotta make a decision. And me, I done made my decision. What I'm gonna do, it's Dr. Lerone Bennett. He says, to be an educator in an oppressive system, you got to make a choice. You're going to either be a revolutionary or you're going to be an oppressor. So, look, man, it's a glimmer of hope. I want to show you something real quick, right? I try to work around the system. And so all the kids, they got to do 40 hours of community service in order to graduate in the state of Illinois. So that 40 hours, I make them sit there in my Black Studies class and soak up some of this good old knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm inside of a public system, right? And I'm using the system against them. You see what I mean? I'm using it against them or for us, however you want to look at it. I'm a screen share real quick if that's appropriate. All right, brother? Just real quick. I'll show you one thing.
All right.
All right.
Go ahead, Brother Rob. Go ahead.
All right. I think. Hey, can you see it so far? Can you see me?
Okay, now wait a minute. Go ahead. Let me. I'm gonna click on you so that what you're showing is shown for everybody. There we go. Everybody should be able to see that.
Okay. Y'all can see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can.
All right. So what this is Black History Month in a school I used to work at, right? And so the theme of Black History Month was the greatness of ancient Africa. We can get it back. And what I was doing was I was showing the kids, right, that we had culture, we had a history that didn't include white folks that had a house with a window in it until about at least 8,500 documented years of civilization for Black folks, right? And you can see right at the top, those are the sources, the master teachers. So I got Sheikh Anta Diop, John Henry Clark, Marumbia Nye, Francis Cress Wesleyan, Dr. Amos Wilson, that's Ivan Van Sertima, Dr. Tony Martin, George G.M. James, Dr. Chancellor Williams. Those were the resources. And then you see it's a timeline, right? So I got Nubia, I got Kemet, I got Carthage, I got Ethiopia, I got Mali, I got the Moors, I got the Zulus, you know what I'm saying? I got the Ashanti. I had a young lady that dressed up like Ashanti-Wa for Black History Month, and she told her story, you know what I'm saying? And you see in the middle at the bottom, right, I show where these empires existed and how much they took up of the continent. And so what am I doing? I'm literally proving to them that, you know how we say, oh, y'all come from kings and queens. I'm showing them where those kings and queens came from. I'm literally giving them their history. I'm leading them to the water, and just in case if they don't want to drink, I'm gonna stick their head in. You see what I mean? And they gotta do it because it's 40 hours of community service.
That's right.
You see? So let me I'm get back to let me see. I'm gonna stop screen sharing now. But
okay, because I got you
it's
on
a
my
glimmer of hope, brother. That's all
okay.
you gotta do, man. You know, in a way, that's what I have learned to do. Found the way to work within the system and still get our message out. My office is filled with quotes from some of my master teachers and stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's a quote that I make them write when they in detention. You have to write it 40 times and then you can leave, right? There is
Right.
nothing in the world more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. We have a moral obligation to be intelligent. Dr. Martin Luther King. You know what I'm saying?
That's
You see
right.
what I'm saying? I make them write it 40 times. You want to be late for school? Write that 40 times and then you can go. You don't want to have your uniform? All right, no problem. I like that Gucci belt. I like it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, write this 40 times and then you can leave. You know what I'm saying? Quotes from everybody. You know what I'm saying? Marcus Garvey. I just make them write it. You know what I'm saying? You write that 40 times, you can leave. You
All
know what I'm
right.
saying? A lot of times it's written before they get there. You know what I mean? And they just got to sit there the little 25 minutes. You know?
Right. That's right. That's
But
right.
it's the way to do it. We just got to work around. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you know, if they give us lemons, make lemonade, basically.
That's right. Let me, brother Rob, I want to thank you for coming on at late. You know, I gave you the link. You probably didn't know at the time, you know, what Info Man doing right now. I didn't get a chance to connect with you earlier, but I'm just glad that it all came together. Two of the guys that we definitely need on this panel were able to come on board. Brother X was able to come on board. Brother Madam Tomorrow and those that came on board. Let me go over to Brother Art. Let him say his last word as I go all the way down the line, and then I'm going to give B.M.T the last word of the program so that he can take us on home. Brother Art?
Yeah, what was the initial last question?
Well,
What direction or something like
yeah,
that?
I think that was what direction should we go now? I did ask that question earlier. That's right, brother.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think of is just putting the boots on the ground and going to the right people and putting yourself on people's agenda to speak, give 5-minute presentations. You know, because for some reason, when you start doing a lot of emailing and I have a situation in my personal life. I did a GoFundMe and I got slow results. So they got to see a face and some sincerity. I'm quite sure it's been done, but I just think you have to just do it with until you get to the right people. And once you really once you're able to get that right group, then it just become a snowball effect. Like Brother Rob was saying, you have to make sure that you keep driving until you get some results. That's the
Okay.
only way it's gonna happen. So peace to everyone, peace to information man of tomorrow, Brother X, Brother B.M.T, I believe Brother Rob left, and Brother D Darrell, and everybody in the chat. Everybody just take care.
All right. I
Thank you,
thank you for
brother.
being here,
Thank
brother.
you, brother Art.
Peace to you. Let me go over to Brother Prophet of Thought and everybody in the chat. Make sure you support Brother Prophet of Thought. He does a lot of great things on his channel. He's got a lot going on Wednesday and Thursday nights. Go over there and check him out. Subscribe, follow. You know what to do. Brother Prophet of Thought series. Come on now. And of course, my brothers over there at Black Brain Trust. You got to check them out. And I did put in the description of this video both of Brother B.M.T's channels, his Men's Congregate channel, which occurs on Sundays, and then his main channel, Black Men Talk, Black Media Talk. If I'm saying that correct, Black Men Talk, Black Men Talk. Let me repeat that again. I put that in the description of the video, and I will pop it into the chat room as the brothers give their conclusion. So go right ahead, Brother X.
Yeah, well, first I want to say, thanks, brother Info. So it's always a pleasure to be down here. My brother, you're my dude. And my man, brother B.M.T, you already know. That's my brother right there. He already knows. Me and him, we're going to have to do some back channel talking because I want to know a little more about what's going on down there because B.M.T, that's my people. Yeah. The thing with this is this, though. I would like to say that this is the last time that something like this is going to happen to one of our academies for young black boys. But we know it's not. Okay, we know it's not, and I hate to say it, and I know people are going to be pissed with me for saying it. And like the brother said earlier, we're going to have to prepare for these kind of times, man. And we're going to have a contingency plan. If there's no major plan to avert these things, at the very least, there has to be a contingency plan if something like this happens. So I say again, we need to use this as an example of things to come and things we want to avoid in the future. But it's disappointing, though. It's very disappointing, man, to hear this. It's very disappointing. That's why I said me and B.M.T, we gotta talk in the back channels. It's very disappointing, man, to hear about something like this. Because I say again, every other corner there's a black church, but there's only one black school in a black town that nobody wants to support. Let's think about that. And I'll rest on that. I'll say peace to everybody. Peace to everybody in the chat. I'm out.
Well, Brother Prophet of Thought, you are my man. I appreciate you for being here, making those words that you said, which are real. And I'm going to be over there checking you out this week. And everybody get your asses over to Prophet of Thought's channel. Like your life depend on it.
Brother Info, I know you and I were supposed to do an interview today, and I know that kind of got messed up. So I mean, just hit me up. You got my information. We'll do something.
I apologize for that, Prophet. I apologize.
So I thought, but see, this is the thing, though. What you brought to my attention last night, Brother B.M.T, was important. I'm gonna end up talking to Brother X, and maybe we can set something up going into next weekend. We're gonna get it going.
Yeah,
this was an important topic. And I want to say again, everybody, check out Prophet of Thought's channel, his series. Get your asses over there like your life is your life matters, okay? Like thunder. Get your asses over there.
Yeah, come on through. Peace, Info. Peace, Brother
Peace,
BMT.
brother. Now,
Peace, brother.
The man himself, Brother BMT, as I put in the chat room, He's got the Black Men Talk. He's got the Black Male Conjugation that he does on Sundays. I put those channels in the chat room. This is the brother that we were on the phone we were talking to each other last night on a private Google Hangout for at least an hour or two. Hell, time passed. I didn't even know. And he really laid it down to me about what's going on, some of the personal things that he deals with in his life. And y'all definitely need to check this brother out. I'm so glad that we had a chance to really talk on a personal level last night. So with that said, let's let this brother give his last words now. Go right ahead, brother.
Yeah. So pretty much, I want to, first of all, I want to thank all the brothers who came on the panel, but I also want to give a great honor to Information Man for just doing this. He didn't have to. He could have done his normal thing, but he went out of his way, and I know he's a man for his people. That really means a lot to me that you did do this. Again, yes, I have 4 YouTube channels. Black Male Talk, that's B.M.T, Black Male Talk, Brothers Amongst Men, B.M.T 2, and also Black Men's Congregation. I own 4 YouTube channels. So I put my channel in the Brothers Amongst Men. If you want to catch the live stream, it's Brothers Amongst Men. But if you want to catch the recording, you can catch it in BMT. I know a lot of people like to come into the live show because they get to call in and they get to talk with us. BMT is down because we were talking about some sensitive topics, but I don't mind. I listen, I don't mind talking about that. Topics like these that I put before Information Man, these are topics that a lot of people challenge and don't like to talk about. You talk about these type of things, YouTube will shut you down or they will start buckling with you. So you gotta understand there are powers that may be at B. Also for the brother who said, hey, BMT, how did it feel to be a Republican? You voted for this. I did not vote for my people to suffer. I never voted for that. I am a conservative man for my family, for my wife and my children. I donate more money than most of y'all can ever imagine. So that way my children and other people can eat. So I do not look for the damnation. Again, I have brought this same topic before, and Information Man knows there are some YouTubers who see these topics and they do not give a damn about this type of talk. This is why I can trust Information Man and Prophet and the brothers on the panel, because we care and we walk the walk. I respect everybody in the chat, and I ask y'all, pass the word on about this. These ladies, they're not trying to hustle anybody. Again, between South Carolina laws and different powers that be, and info, you read it. They got a lot of stuff stacked against them, a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I don't want to, and I know it kind of hurt what Rob was saying, but I also know that has also been talk behind closed doors that we might be losing another, this will, if we lose this, that's it. I don't want it to have to be an after school program. I want it to be a school, but we have to, it's always the black man has to swallow shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm tired of always having to take L's.
That's right.
The Chinese man don't deal with this. The Jewish don't have to deal with this. The Native American, nobody has to take L's no more than a black man. But whenever we want to do something, there's always some other people, and it's worse because it's our own people that doubt us.
That's right. We're always left to clean up the slop and the shit.
Right. So I bring this before you, brothers, and I held back some tears because it's my home. So it hurts deeper for me, but I'm watching my boys, my sons, they are dealing with this. They don't want to go. We don't want to leave our school. It's not easy when you see a bunch of boys in a school district court crying because they are going to be getting kicked out of their school. When y'all can get that cold-hearted, when y'all don't have to give a shit about that, that hurt me. But that had a lot of people crying when those boys are crying. That's why Information Man was trying to share that video. Because those boys that they said were either slow or special or needed some medication, one of them is gifted with math, already at a 7th grade level, and he's only in 3rd grade.
That's the reason why, brother, I had brought up the fact that when our black young men are in these schools, they are labeled with all these different, they're peppered with all these different labels. I'm a victim of that when I was in the school system. And that's how they get to us. They destroy us at a young age. And then they want to track us, put us in these certain classes, call us deviant, call us hyperactive, all these labels on us at a very early age, which goes into the whole reality of the pipe system to the industrial complex prison system. You know, get us at the school age level, put us in jeopardy. And this is why I think that there is some sabotage going on, because this school was changing the narrative. What I would say to everybody out there in the chat room right now, do your own research based on what we've talked about, but do your own research. Check out the school on the channel. I'm going to put more links. I'm going to put the link that leads you to the actual website of the school and links to their the Academy's actual YouTube channel. And let me just go right here real quick and put that in the chat room real quick, like, and give me 1 minute, everybody. We're going to do this right now. Hang on.
Thank you, information man. I can't thank you enough for this.
Oh,
this
yes,
really
brother.
does mean a lot to me and
it means a lot
of my people.
What we're going to do, brother, we will be talking more about this. I'm going to probably have to do another video, pre-produced video more. I'm going to do another video, which will be a pre-produced video about this issue again. So we're going to stay steady on this issue. So everybody in the chat room, that is the actual website that they have, or not website, but their actual YouTube channel where they're promoting the school. The kids are promoting the school. Once this video pretty much processes itself, you know, when you in these videos, YouTube has to process these videos. Once this video completely processes and I put the thumbnail up, I'm going to go back in the description of the video and add some more stuff in the description. But what I need everybody out there is to share this video in your social media. I saw some of my fraternity brothers, 06 to you, Alpha to you, that came in the chat room that said that they're on the job. Okay, I can count on my brothers. They're on the job. I want you all to continue to push this to your social media, as I'm going to continue to do so. And everybody, you know, I'm going to be getting ready to go over to O'Shea's in just a minute for his Sunday Rumble. And, you know, we have a lot of fun over there. We get into issues. But while we laugh and giggle and we enjoy the entertainment of YouTube, sometimes these type of issues really call for us to take action in our own individual way. Now, you can do something. For those of you who may not have the money to give to a GoFundMe, what's to stop you from at least getting into your social media and promoting it to people who could make some noise? What's to stop you from getting on the phone and calling a representative like Clyburn in South Carolina? You can do something, even if it isn't economic that you can afford to give, but you can at least take the time to put the word out about this. And because there's probably a lot of people right now who don't know about this. Hell, I didn't know about this until the brother B.M.T told me, because they're not promoting this in the general media. Okay, and let me say peace and love to Robin, the girl wonder. I'm glad to see you here. And say what's up to brother Lions Den too. Funny. Love that, brother. Okay, so brother BMT, you got any more you want to say, brother?
No, I don't. I'm gonna keep on pushing it as the best I can, and I just thank everybody for listening to this this alert that Information Man has allowed me to come and share with him as well as other brothers. Please don't do it just to get some kind of praise, and do this for our kids, man. Because when we're dead and gone, they're all that we have left. They're all we have left. So please, any networking y'all got, any type of people y'all do know, brothers, if y'all can help, you know what I'm saying? We're not, we got nothing to prove, but just help our boys out. Help our boys out. That's all I'm asking.
All right, brother.
All right.
With that said, I want to thank everybody in the chat room for being here. I'm going to end the program, play a little music, and hope that you all enjoyed the program, but took some information that you can use that can benefit you to share this video and get the word out about what's going on.
Information is power.
I thank you all for being here. Definitely want to thank once again, Brother B.M.T. I love you for being here, brother. This was great. Everybody out there, here we go now.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel. Information is power.
I thank everybody for watching the program today. Everybody that super chatted me, thank you. I see Poetic Kales out there. Vonda Harris, thank you. King K Maya, brother Graham Williams, thank you for your super chat, brother. Dr. Ford, Little Rock 2517, I appreciate you. Brother D. Darrell that was on today. Brother Art that was on with us today too. I appreciate him for coming over. That was very important. Let me see if I can catch a few other people. Tony Smith that was with us. D. Light, thank you, sister, for being here. You're new to the channel. I appreciate it. Six Figures Days, Prophet of Thought who came in. Omumbato, thank you for being here. I'm sorry if I'm saying names wrong. Taylor Green. Let me see here. We had Brother Mike B, who is a member of the Black Brain Trust. Get your asses over there and check out the Black Brain Trust. The one and only me. Thank you, brother. You super chatted me today. I really appreciate that you came over. Bro-ass among us, brothers among us, men, thank you for being here. Miguel, thank you for coming over. Carl's Opinion, thank you for coming over. August Dreams for coming in. You know, at some point, I've got to get all the moderators together in a private chat so I can talk to you. Then we got Big Cruz 06. What's up, Fred? Good to see you in here. Coming over and being a part of what's happening. Appreciate that. Appreciate that, definitely. Everybody who came in, all reliable, thank you for being here. And I'm about to get my ass over to O'Shea's Rumble. I really appreciate everybody. And everybody who's wondering about the music, I'm producing the music, so I don't have any problem with I won't have any issues with copyright because all of this is being produced off my little drum producing machine, right off the tip of my hands, right off the good old cell phone app and beautiful laptop. So I can produce my own sounds now and don't have to worry about no copyright infringement. So I can jam it up, baby.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel. Tell the truth.
All right, everybody, thank you for being here. I'm going to put an end to it right now. Love you all out there, the things that you do. I'll leave you with this last statement.
Remember, I break our asses to providing that y'all making mutiny. No. No more music, period. never going out. After school, you're gonna come straight home. You do your homework, your chores, you eat your dinner, brush your teeth, wash your ass, and go to